Marcelo, you have.
Yeah, let me share my screen here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the call. This session is mainly on the document understanding overview. So what is document understanding and the components of the document understanding we are going to discuss on this session. So are you able to see my screen well? Can you confirm, anyone?
Yes.
Yep. So So this is the speakers. Marcelo, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone, I'm Marcelo, and yeah, I'm a UiPath MVP, currently working as a consultant, RPA consultant and teacher, also providing trainings, and yeah, that's basically it, very briefly.
Yeah, thank you, Marcelo. So Sean has to join this call, but due to some emergency, he is not able to join that. So myself, Srinivas, I was a UiPath MVP working with Prosa partner as a tech lead. So this is my introduction, and moving ahead to the session. So before understanding about the document, understanding what it is, in this digital era, we deal with the different types of documents, and documents will come in different formats like document content signatures, checkboxes, rotated documents, and various formats in the and even the low scanned documents as well. So this is very challenging for the enterprises to deal with different types of documents, right? So that's where the UiPath has came up with document understanding as a product. So what it will do, we are like training the robots to understand the documents by having AI enhanced skill for extraction and the interruption, and these can be happen with the drag and drop functionalities only. Yeah. So basically, what is document understanding itself, right? So it's not an OCR, because we know that OCR has some limitations. It can't identify any patterns or anything. So it is not a OCR, okay, and it's not a computer vision as well, because computer vision has a limitation to identify the objects, but not to understand the patterns and extract the data. So what exactly the document understanding it is? So it is a combination of RPA, document processing, and AI capabilities. That's where it has in the document understanding. So document has understanding has the capabilities of these categories, where it can interact with RPA with our RPA workflow, and it can understand the document using the AI, okay, capability, and it can process the document with the document processing capabilities. Yeah. So going with the features, what features we have in the document understanding, or it is end-to-end end-to-end document understand intelligent document processing uh, based upon the rule-based and model-based approach. Okay, so going on, it is a combined composable framework for feasible, and it's best in technology as well. Yeah, end-to-end solution for extraction and interruption the information, and it can support various types of documents, because that is one of the challenge where enterprises will face in current era, like someone has a PDF, someone has an image PDF. So like that, we have a different types of documents where it is capable of processing the documents. Yeah. So it can have the different file formats as well, JPG, email, PDF, Word, or any kind of extensions we have, right? And it can recognize the document objects as well. It can recognize the signatures, it can recognize the tables, it can recognize the uh, check boxes or something like that. So this is one of the future in the document understanding. And it has the ML models to understand the patterns which you are sending to the document understanding. It has the capability of understanding the AI capabilities of AI powered capabilities as well. And model training, it has to retrain itself on the basis of the output result from the humans as well. Yeah. And it is available in cloud and on premises as well. That is the good future here in the document understanding. Yeah. And moving on, like the few we can train our bots to intelligently process our documents. It is very flexible in processing a wide range of documents. Maybe take a different layouts or handwritten or any check boxes in there. It is very flexible in processing those, and very intelligent in understanding your document actually to take the actions on the data, right? Because it has to understand the layout. Based upon that, it has to extract the data, so it is capable of doing those. And it's very efficient because it saves some time with seamless integration, end-to-end integration as well. And it's very accurate in extracting the results, and it can train itself based upon the human inputs. So usually the documents are categorized into three different categories. One is a structured document where for example, if we take a passport, it is very structured and aligned, and it's a fixed format. It can contains like handwritten or signatures or check boxes, but the layout is not changing. It has a fixed layout. Yeah. And the other category is a semi-structured document, which is like a invoice, kind of invoice, receipts, or purchase orders. Again, it is a semi-structured. That is what it contains like fixed formats and some variable formats as well, like line items or a table kind of things. Yeah. So unstructured documents are like we have contracts, agreements, emails, which are categorized as unstructured documents. So there is no fixed format for those. So every company or enterprise has their own formats. Yeah, it is a very free form of sentences or paragraphs as well. So document understanding, and actually the start is that like document understanding is released as a product, but later in stages it was combined into UiPath platform very tightly. So from AI Center, we can consume some pre-trained models which are available in the out-of-box model. Okay. And we can also train our own model in the AI Center, and we can retrain the model itself in the AI Center. And by combining Action Center to document understanding, there is a validation center which we can invoke using the Action Center, where human can review the extraction and see whether the results are correct or not, extracted by the bots. and they can provide their feedback. Accordingly, the model will be retrained. And studio is always like we can build our workflow, whatever the workflow using the activities. We have a set of document understanding activities where we can use and build uh, our workflows, and robots can run on this can run on those, and we can provide input through these robots. Yeah, orchestrator again, it is manageable. All these robots are managed at the orchestrator level to see how the process and how the performance is going on. So as such that it is a document understanding is a end-to-end intelligent document processing solution, where it can receive different document types and different varieties as well. Like when I say varieties, the document can be in a multiple language or various formats, or signatures, having any signatures handwritten, or any kind of low quality scans also it can receive. And the next step is that it has to understand, right? So it can understand these types of documents, and based upon that, it can digitalize the document, classify the document, extract those key information, uh, and validate, or we can send from the, once the extraction is completed, we can validate that with the humans by Action Center, and it can retrain itself on the model on the based upon the uh, validation station. Yeah, and it can analyze as well. So it can streamline end-to-end process from it can be that makes a business more effective and reduce on the manual effort. Yeah. So how document understanding works? So the first step is that like to load the taxonomy. Don't worry about if I put some not knowing the words, but we can cover this in this section itself. So taxonomy, we have to define the taxonomy like a structured for the documents, like a structured or semi-structured or unstructured. Yeah. The next step is that we need to digitalize those documents to and then it has to classify. Yeah. So documents can have a different kind of documents again. In the PDF, let's say we have the invoices, we have the purchase invoices or purchase orders, or anything. We give it to the digitalize, it can classify. It can classify it to according to our need. It can identify the purchase order because it is already having some pre-trained models over there. So running a backend, so it can classify without much training as well, and it can extract the key information which you mentioned in the taxonomy, and it can train and validate itself and export to the different systems. Like if you want to have an in a like Excel format, you can write a workflow. If it is need to be integrated with the BPM or any other systems, it can be easily integrated. So the steps are actually the over workflow. How it goes is that like the load the taxonomy, where we defines document types and fields for processing. What fields? Because one document can contain multiple fields. Let's say like take an invoice, it can contain like line items which but for one process we only need like what's the date of the invoice and name of the company, and how much quantity of goods and price only. But it can contain other information also which is not required for this for the certain process. Yeah, at that time we can load the taxonomy to extract only defined fields. Yeah. And after that, we can keep digitalize where the document will be extracted as a text file using OCRs. Okay. And once that is completed, we need to we have a different classifiers, different classifiers where it can split one file into different categories. Based upon that categories, it can classify the file types. And next step is that to extract the documents. Yeah, once the extraction is completed, then it can export the data to different file formats. If you are into a RPA workflow, you can manage whatever the extracted information to be placed. Yeah. So then additional steps are like validate. We can ask humans to validate the extracted information, and again it can train on based upon that review. And also we can validate the classifications also, because here the classification is also maintained from the RPA bots only. Yeah. So a closer look on this, like what is a load taxonomy? There is a like one place where we can define our documents, and we can group it into different groups as well. Like if you see here, there are documents which are semi-structured documents, and we can keep it some as a financial or some other categories as well. Yeah. And if you see here in the right side, there are the fields uh, where we need to extract these. This is one-time activity only. There is no need of doing every time. So if you define the taxonomy correctly, then the next step is that to digitalize the text in the documents using OCR. So documents can be like this, handwritten or some low quality documents. Yeah. And some are in semi-structured documents as well. So once you digitalize the text, it will convert it into a plain text format. Yeah, it can extract all the text from what you are seeing in the left side of the image. Okay, based upon that, it can classify and split the documents which are into like let's say uh, you pass one PDF file which contains invoices, purchase orders, receipts, or any other documents. It can be very intelligent in classifying those into categories. Like you can see from the image, like there are different categories like invoice, purchase orders, receipt, and unrelated documents. So it is based upon like classification. Document understanding is offering like different classification capabilities. We have the activities like keyword based and ML based classification also. So validate classification. We spoke about this, right? Like uh, whatever they extracted, the classified one has to be verified by the user. That's where the classification station has come into picture, where the action center will once the classification has done by the robot, it will pass to the validation station where user can log in and check the accuracy of the extraction. If anything is wrongly extracted, it can be adjusted, and based upon that, it will be Based upon that, it will be retrained, and it will be correct from the next iteration. So extract data from documents. We define all these fields in the taxonomy. So based upon that, it will. And again, this works on the confidence score. What you mentioned here in this, and we have a different extractors here. Like we can have like a reject based extractor, form extractor, intelligent extractor. Even we have like pre-trained models like invoice pre-trained models also there. We can have that extractors as well, and we can define which extractor to extract the fields of this. And according to the minimum confidence score, it will extract it. We will get to know what is the below accuracy. According to that, the validation station will be presented, and users can the human can log in and validate the information correctly. So with this, I pass to Marcelo to take over this session.
Thank you, Srini. So I'll just share here my screen.
Give me a second. Let me. Yeah.
Okay. So I think you still share your screen, Srini. I think it's just better.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, now it's good. So
is this good?
Yeah. So
yeah,
just a second. Okay. So can you see my screen? If you can just confirm. Yes. Okay, so yeah, so after after extracting the data from the documents, so we can have the validation. So where it can, so we have two different approach. We have the standard way where it can show a validation station, as we can see here on this image, where the user can validate the extraction. And also from an attended way, so from Action Center, the user can see the task, and from this task, the user can validate the data and submit. And so also with this data, so the feedback from the user, the corrections from the user, we can use this data to retrain the machine learning models to make them better over time. And in last, so with them, we have the train classifiers and extraction. So we can use, as we were saying before, the data provided from the user. So the feedback, the corrections from the user for both the classifiers and extractors to train them and train our machine learning models. And then in last but not least, export extracted data. So after doing the classification and extraction and validation of the document data extraction, we can export this data, and we can export, for example, to an Excel file, to a Google spreadsheet. So we are free to choose the format that we want to choose to export the data. And also then we can use it further and maybe export it to SAP system or any kind of application, either web or desktop based, that should receive the data extracted. And now just again a brief overview around the document types. So as we have seen before, so we have mostly 3 document types. So the structured ones are documents that have a fixed format, a fixed layout, and usually the information can always be found in the same place. And then we have the semi-structured. So are documents that usually share, so the core data is the same across them. However, the layout of these documents might change from document to document. So easy example, it's invoices. So if we look to the invoices from different companies, we will see that they share in the core data, it's the same. So they have the date, they have the invoice number, the items with the description, total, and the quantity. But then the layout, the template of these documents normally changes. And so that's a semi-structured document. And then we have the unstructured ones that don't have a structure at all. They have no fixed format. And so examples of them are the contracts, agreements, and emails. And now, so with document understanding, so we have mostly two methodologies to extract the data from documents. So we can use rule-based extraction or model-based extraction. So the rule-based, as the name suggests, it's based on rules like patterns that we can use to extract specific data, or rules, for example, the position of the data on the document. So these are the rule-based. And then we have the model-based, which is basically reliant on machine learning models, for example, to extract the data from documents. And well, document understanding allows to use both worlds. So use together the rule-based extraction approach and the model-based extraction approach to use, so like a hybrid approach to use the best of both worlds on our document process implementation. And now just overview around the different methods that we can use on both methodologies. So we have on the rule-based side, the regex-based extractor and the form extractor. And then from the model-based, so we have the forms AI and the machine learning extractor. And now let's just understand these extractors in more detail. So yeah, the regex-based extractor, it's ideal to extract structured fields that have a specific pattern. So data like emails, phone numbers, identification numbers, dates, also, for example. So a piece of data that have a clear and unique pattern. So we can create regular expressions to find this piece of data from the document text and extract it accordingly. Then we have also the form extractor, which is also a rule-based extractor. And so we can use it to extract data from documents like forms that have most of the times a fixed format. And so it is based on the position of the data. So basically, we have to indicate from the document where it's the data that we want to extract. And so by recording the position, it will be able to extract the data from these documents. And also important to highlight, it is able to extract from these documents tables. So tabular data, checkboxes, so understand when the checkbox is marked or not. And also able to extract and written data, and also identify if, for example, a document it's signed or not. Then we have also forms AIs, which is also a model, so is a model-based method. And so basically we can use this method to extract data from structured documents that might have some variety on the layouts. And so we can basically with this method handle documents like tax forms, insurance forms. So it's a way that we can create extract the data. And then we have the machine learning extractor, which basically enables us to extract data from semi-structured or unstructured documents using machine learning models. And so now just a brief summarize here, basically on a rule-based approach methodology. It relies on rules like regular expressions and templates. So on the position of the data points, the data on the document. And so it's ideal for structured data so that have a fixed format. And so it usually ensures accuracy for already known documents. However, there is some drawbacks on this approach. For example, it doesn't work with unknown documents. So just example, let's say that we have forms to process, the document forms, and we use probably the form extractor, which relies on the position of the fields, but from time to time we get a form that has a different layout, and what happens, we will need to add a new template, so new rules, so to match the new positions, and so this might lead to some ongoing maintenance. While then we have the machine learning models, so the template-less approach. So from here, we can rely on machine learning models to process less structured documents and semi-structured documents like invoices or receipts. And very important to mention, these machine learning models they aren't like a big database of document templates. They really understand what's on the document, like us when you look at the document, and so that's how they work. And currently, so we have many pre-trained models available out of the box on UiPath, such as for invoices, receipts, purchase orders, passports, and much more. But also we can integrate custom models on a document understanding solution, such as from models created with forms AIs, or even use custom machine learning models or 30-path models. So document understanding gives us the freedom to basically integrate what we want to use a machine learning model on our project. And so also very important to mention that we can then retrain these models from AI Center. And so we can retrain them with data from that was validated. So from data validated from users on previous extractions, and use this data to feed the model and improve it over time. And yeah, and then the other way is using the document manager, which also it's available on Automation Cloud, that allows us to train and retrain existing machine learning models. And so we can make off use of the pre-trained models already available out of the box for different kinds of documents. So last time I verified, there is over 40 models for different documents. So there is a lot of variety and options there. And so we can, as I said before, we can retrain these models over time to for custom documents and make them better over and over time. And yeah, then the part of the training on AI Center, we can use the document manager to train the machine learning models, either custom or existing ones. And so from document manager, we can basically import the documents for labeling, label the documents, and we can even pre-label the documents using ML models, machine learning models, like the invoice extraction and receipt extraction. So with Document Manager, we can really easily train our machine learning models. And now here, just a simple scenario here with its steps. So mortgage packet audit post closing. So here we are just brainstorming how it could like automating the document processing from this use case. So initially we receive a packet, a documents packet that might be scanned and probably will be stored on some shared or a drive. And then we can have a robot that monitors for new files added on, for example, on the shared folder or even on the cloud, and make this robot be triggered every time there is a new file to process, a new file added on the folder. Then we have the part split the packet into underlying files, because from this packet we'll have multiple components such as contracts and loan agreements. So we can split we can split these packets into individual components with the usage of classification. So we take each document present on the packet and classify it accordingly. And so with this, then also by splitting the packet into individual components, we can process these documents faster and well, in a more efficient way. And so after classifying the documents, we know the documents that we are processing. So by knowing the documents that we are processing, we know the data that we want to extract from them. And so we can extract the data using a hybrid approach. So we can use both rule-based or machine learning model-based extraction, or just use one of them. This is free, so we can choose if we want to use a hybrid approach or not. Then also we can include a part to check for signatures, so we can add extra validation if it's needed to validate if the documents are signed, for example, if there is some requirement on that. And then we can also compare and validate information across documents. So do a kind of cross checking. So for example, let's say that we have loan amounts indicated on different documents. And so do a cross checking if there is consistency on the data between documents. And if there is some exceptions, something that's not right, we can send exceptions for human review. So any exception that was found on the data, any consistency, and also if there is something on the confidence level, so data that was extracted with low confidence, or even data that was extracted that wasn't extracted, we can send this document for human review throughout validation station or action center. So the user can review everything and then submit the document validated. And having everything validated, the documents, then we can write the results, for example, to a spreadsheet, to an Excel file, for example, and make something, some usage of the data for later processing, for example, to insert it on ERP like SAP, or even insert it on any kind of application. And so that's just like a brief overview of how we could work out the processing of this use case. And now we will see just briefly a document understand template demo. So I will now here open UiPath Studio. And so here, so I just opened the project created with a document understanding template. So on the next session, we will see in more detail how to work with the document understanding template. This is available. You can find it here on the more templates. And so if you filter by official, you can find very easily here document understanding process. So now we'll just see more briefly how it works, the different components. And then later on the next session, we will see how to create a project based on it. So here we can see basically, well, the project structure. So we can see by default that it has a bunch of folders related to the project settings. also the assets to be loaded, workflows to do specific actions like classification, extraction, export the data, send the data to be reviewed throughout Action Center or validation station. And so here we can see that we have two main workflows. So one, it's for attended scenarios, so attended use cases. And the other one is for an attended use cases, so that uses Action Center whenever it's needed to send the data, the document extraction or document classification to be reviewed by a human. So here I will open here the attended one. And so here we can see, just explain very briefly that initially it reads a configuration file that has a bunch of settings, constants, and assets to be loaded to be used for later on the process. And then here we just do here validation if it's running in attended mode. And if it is, it shows like a pop-up to select a document that we want to be processed. So this follows the thing of being an attended process, attended one. And then here we can see basically the steps like that we have seen here on the presentation. So we start by loading the taxonomy here, and then digitize the document. So extract the text and some technical information about the document to then classify it. Classify it so to know if it's an invoice, if it's a receipt, or if it's other document type. Then we can run classification rules checks. So run some business rules to do some checks around the document classifier. And then for basically for each document, we do basically the extraction. Then we can apply some extraction rules. So some business rules to run after doing the extraction. And after that, we can also send the data to be validated by a human. And after the data be validated, we can export the data to the format that we want. So now I'll just here run this project so you can see it working. So this is basically as it comes from the template, so without any changes applied. So it just takes here, so it's just loading here initially. And now it should appear here a prompt. So you can see here the prompt that appeared to select the file, the document that has the files to be processed. And basically, so you can see here the file that I will pass will be this one that has basically 4 documents. So a certificate, an invoice, a form, and a receipt. So this is the file that will pass. So let's pass here. And now it's doing the digitization. So extracted the text from this file. To then we go over the classification step on which we can split the file into different documents. So here we can see now on the classification station that was found basically 4 documents. So a certificate, an invoice, W9, and receipt. And also we can see here the confidence level. So in this case, it was 100%. So this is the level of the confidence of the classifier on each document found. And also, if the classification was wrong, here we would have the opportunity to fix it. So to indicate the right document type for a given classification. And after that, we can save here the changes. And so after saving the changes, we go over the extraction. So to extract each document found on the file. So here on certificate of filling, we can see that was extract the dated field, announce the effective field, which contains a date, some dates. Then we can see here the file number on this case was not extracted. And here the user could simply select here the number. and put here the number on this field. And then, yeah, basically we can just submit or just mark here to confirm that was verified the data and submit to go over the next file. And so just to highlight, we are seeing the validation station, which is for attended use cases where the automation runs on the user machine, but then on unattended use cases where the robot runs, for example, on the server or virtual machine, this task will be done on the action center. And so here on the invoice, we can see that was extracted quite a lot of data, such as here the tabular data, also the total, the company name, also the address. So here we can just here confirm and submit. And then we can see here also on this form that was able to extract data from unwritten data. So we can see that here the data is unwritten. So the process, the framework is able also to extract data unwritten and also see if a checkbox, for example, is checked or not. And also here we can see the part that is about validating signature. So if the document is signed or not. So here was detected as yes, and it is true. It is signed, as we can see. So let's move on here to the last document. So then we can see also the exported data. So here we will see by default that it's exported to an Excel file, but we could export it also, for example, to a Google spreadsheet or other format. And so here also on the receipt, we can see the data that was extracted. Here we can see that basically almost everything was extracted successfully. So here we can just submit. And now what will happen? So basically the data will be exported to an Excel file. So here we can see basically that was created an Excel file for each document extracted. And so from here, we can see, so we can see here the data that was extracted from the documents. So this is one of them. So I'll just open another one so we can see. So here it was the form. So we can see the data that was extracted, the checkboxes validation. So if they were marked or not. So here we can see basically everything that was extracted. And yeah, that's basically it. So then also in the next session, we'll see more in detail here the framework, how to build a solution using the document understanding template here on Studio. And yeah, that's basically it. So I think now we can also have some time for Q&A.
Thank you for the session. So I will let people unmute then. Okay, so now, Mitch, I see that you have your hand raised.
Yes, the validation station, can that be customized on the look and feel to make it a more user-friendly experience?
Yeah, currently, well, the validation station, yeah, it comes by default with the design that we have seen, and there's at least currently there's no way to customize the look of the validation station.
Okay.
So, hi, hello. Yeah, I want to know, is it necessary or mandatory to include action center steps in the U?
mean to say, is it compulsory or optional for the human to review?
Yeah.
It's a optional thing. We can usually the best practice is to human in the loop, because um, if we are very confident on the extraction, then we can have the we can remove that step. But see, the template itself is a standard template, but we can customize according to our need and according to the project. Yeah.
Okay, suppose if we have removed the action center steps, and if the new documents have been added, um, so and they are not trained, and the new documents have been added, so you know what will happen.
Yeah,
It
that
will
is,
just
it's right away export, go to the export, but that is where we require a third eye to validate, right? That's where the validation station come into picture.
okay. If the validation session comes into picture, means it would be always attended automation.
But we can write into a, it is not always a attended, because see, basically the extraction is depends on the score, extraction score, minimum confidence score, what we set, right? So in the flow itself, we can define that if the confidence score is less than 90 or 95 based upon the project, we can define like whether to go to action center or whether to escalate to another person by email or anything. We can redesign that flow. So the standard template will be presenting a validation screen, but we can build our own logic in the workflow itself.
Okay. So, while using ML extractor, I think it should be above nine. Validation score should be above 90%. I think. Am I right?
We can set always like what is the minimum score to follow, right? Like some projects are very strict in getting the results, so that at the time we can set like 95% as well.
Okay. Sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for answering my query.
Hey, hi. I have a question. It's regarding the consumption of AI units. Do we have any exact calculation how the AI units have been consumed?
So there
Like
is a
where? Yeah.
documentation. There is a documentation in UiPath. I can check on that. So it's basically how many activities you are. It's a basically like which activities you are using in the project. That is what, based upon that it will be charged. But
I have also seen that there is some like approximate values given. So just wanted to know, like, uh, can we say like for one page, if a invoice is having a one page and we are extracting like 5-10 fields, so it will be like one AI unit for one page.
it depends upon like a which activities you are using. That is the calculation as of now. Marcelo, you have any feedback here?
Yeah, I put some links here on the chat that might be useful. But yeah, so on these documents you can see like the consumptions per different users. So for example, for using the different kinds of extractor and classification. So if you go there, I think it will be a more well, easier to understand. So there you can see basically what you were asking. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It is not a pace-wise calculation. That is what here, because in the pace-wise calculation also, if you use only one OCR, only OCR, then it will be a different one unit. And if you are using like OCR and classification, extraction, and validation as well, then it is a two AI units based upon the activities you use in the for extracting the pages. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Hi, Marcelo and Srini. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful session today. I just have a quick question on classification here. I recently gone through this scenario and wondering if I get better reliable approaches, how to handle this. So I have a question like how to identify the handwritten text like circled out text or striken out and written with pen beside it on a fully digital document. So how to classify the document as a handwritten with the classifiers that we have today in UiPath. And based on that, I can recognize that as a handwritten document and send it to the Action Center for further processing for the human validation.
Okay, so hello. Just to make sure I've understood well, so the question here is around classifying handwritten documents, right?
Yes,
It's basically
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so my first thought, I would say it's probably much around training an ML model with a bunch of different, of some kind of quantity of handwritten documents with some variety around them. I don't. Did you try already some of the already available by default solutions?
We are using ML model for extraction, and that is one of the approach I'm also looking forward to use for classification. But I'm wondering, like, is there any other approach? Because is UiPath obviously UiPath has some kind of technology, right, with handwritten thing, right? It can identify the signature and handwritten text somewhere else. Is there any appropriate extract classifier that we have to use it here? I haven't got, obviously using the ML model is kind of a time consuming process, right? We need to label it and doing it. So I just wondering, like, is there any other approach? As a last resort, we can always rely on the ML model thing, but I'm just looking at like, I just didn't find a proper way where I can find with the classifiers that we have on today. I used the GenAI classifier as well, but it isn't doing the job as well. Yeah. So just wanted to know, like, is there any other better approach before jumping onto ML model?
So you said like you tried with the GenAI classifier as well. What is there? Because I see that generative classifier is giving the document type as well. Is it a handwritten or digital like that? So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what issue you are facing in that.
So basically, in my document, it is fully digital document. Only in some documents, a little text will be circled out and written with some other value over it, or it will be striken out and written over it. So in that case, I just gave a quick prompt to GenAI Extractor, like with this particular findings, and asked it to classify. But seems like it isn't reliable and it isn't working the way as we expected. So that's the yeah.
So yeah, because you are saying like some part of the document will be handwritten. It's not all the part.
It's not even some part, some keywords. It's not even keyword. It can be dynamic as well. So it's just like striking out the number and writing a new number on it. It's just like correcting a number manually. Someone has corrected manually the digitized text, and then they scan the document and send it for processing, something like that.
Yeah, Srini, if I can step in, this is Priya here.
Yeah, hi, Priya.
Yeah, hi. So, I saw that like if you look in the activities documentation, there is this Google Vision handwritten detection. Maybe you could use that activity to see like if there is like any such a handwritten and use that as your classifier. This is just a workaround, but you can test it out.
Yes, I can, yeah, obviously, we can do that. I'm thinking like more on, obviously we need to go with the cloud vision again. I mean, we need to get the API and all these things, right? So I'm just looking around UiPath products so that we have all the automation cloud and everything, right? Just integrate, gracefully without doing any other get the API things. We need to set up all those things, right? Cloud vision and everything to integrate within the UiPath. So it's not that straightforward. So I'm just looking with within the UiPath products. Yeah, but thanks for
So
your
you
input.
would
I think
want it within the UiPath document OCR. Is that right?
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
is there any other option? Yeah, because that will be much straightforward and easier approach, right? That's what I'm looking. I mean, I just wondering if there is any other approach. Otherwise, yeah, obviously there are quite good approaches that were sent by, I mean, by Marcelo and by you on Srini. Yeah, we can use any of them. Yeah.
There
That's a
are,
very good question.
hi, can you hear me? This is Brian. I just wanted to kind of chime in. There's an image analysis out of the box ML model called image classification. I don't know if you've seen it or if you're using it, but it's in the AI Center doc. And then there's also a recently GA'd UiPath Gen AI activities and the integration services activities that have like an image analysis activity that I used to customer had a signature that wasn't legible in a buyer signs signature field, and the OCR UiPath document OCR wasn't picking it up at all. So we used that image analysis to, I mean, it was kind of a, you got to convert it to an image first, but, and then you can use that image analysis activity, and it worked well. So I just wanted to share. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I looked into it.
Hi, this is Junaid. Just I have 3 questions. So does the execution pause when the request is sent to the validation station or action center? Or
Okay.
I'm just talking about unattended situations.
Okay, hello. So I can answer. So, well, on the validation station scenario where it's attended running on the user machine, it indeed pauses. However, when, for example, attended the use case, so using Action Center, basically the job enters on suspended mode, and other route can run basically other DO tasks. So it's paused, so it's waiting for the user feedback, but let's basically freeze let's say the machine, the VM, to other DO tasks, for example, be executed.
Okay. The next question would be, do we need to add users to the cloud for sending request in the Action Center, or we can send the validation request to anyone in the organization or outside the organization?
Just to confirm if I understood well, are you asking if the user needs to be added to Automation Cloud to be able to to take the tasks, the Action Center tasks? It's that?
Yes. The user do we need to add the user? So let's say I'm building a process for my customer, and I need to so in case the validation is, I mean, the confidence is less than 95%, I want my customer to actually validate it manually. So do I need to add my customer to the UiPath Cloud product, or can I send it over an email, and then the bot could read the response from an email and then continue the process, and how could it be best designed?
Well, as far as I know, it must be added to Automation Cloud, but I'm not sure if there is other way. Do you know, Priya or Srini, if there is also? I think no, but
if you want to access the Action Center, the user has to be in the Automation Cloud. But if you need to, there will be always a workaround, right? Like you can collect all the results, and you can share it as some external file where like Excel to validate them. But usually user has to be added to access the Action Center. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So when you say the user has to be added to the Action Center, what particular license should the user added be with? Does he need a separate license to access the action center?
Not
Yes, you need a separate license for the action center. Also, you need to provide roles in the orchestrator to access the action center. That's how a person or a user can act upon the tasks that are created in action center.
Okay, okay. Thank you. One final question. Are we going to cover modern design experience, the slash active learning for this DU series and in the next sessions, or is it not part of this?
If I'm not mistaken, sorry, the active learning thing, it's on on the section number, the session number 6, if I'm not wrong. On the next one, on the section number 5, we'll cover more deeply the document understanding template and develop around it. So yeah, but just maybe, so if you can check out the next two sessions, because we'll be very focused on document understanding. Yeah, you can get more details on that. Just
thank you. That's all from my side.
Hi, this is Abhishek, and I wanted to know that is it possible to work on a PDF that has multiple invoices in a single PDF? Like there are different pages, and different pages have multiple invoices.
Hello. So do you mean if we can, like, from a document, whether the file work extracted from multiple, for example, invoices from this file? Is that?
So there is just one PDF. Let's suppose there is a PDF name one and one.pdf, and that in one.pdf we have invoices, like 10 invoices in that just one PDF.
Yeah, it's doable. Yeah, it's doable on document understanding.
So how will it be like how is it going to classify, like is it going to be classified in just single and will be saved in just one when it will be sent to action center? Will it be just one single PDF for which they have to scroll down and check on the multiple invoices, or it is going to break into different invoices and send it differently?
Yeah, so for example, when you run the classification, it will apply a classification, usually for each page. So you can then for each page with a given classification, it will have extraction, and from there, it will be created AC task for each one. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
So I think machine learning extractor has the split functionality. So if one PDF has multiple invoices, so I think we need to use the ML extractor because it has the split functionality, I think.
Hello, Rahul this side. I have a question. Can we process a document page which has a non-English language, or you can consider a multi-language? Is it possible? Do we need any specific ML model or any specific license for that?
Hello. So yeah, so no, currently, for example, let's say you have semi-structured documents such as invoices on different languages. For example, talking about the pre-trained ones available out of the box by UiPath, there is models to cover different languages like English, Portuguese, Indian, Japanese, I think also if I'm not wrong, Chinese. So there is already some out-of-the-box models to cover, for example, invoices on different languages. So also, if you are using, for example, role-based extractor, it will, for example, to extract structured documents. So it will rely, for example, on the position. So the language here will not be like a problem. So it will rely on the, for example, on the data, on the position of the data, the place where it is on the document. So yeah, so if you, for example, are dealing with semi-structured documents or unstructured documents that you don't have a pre-trained model, I think you have at least two options. So one is to train one from zero with the sample documents that you have on the language. Also, probably you can try also the generative extractor, which probably in the beginning will understand probably almost any kind of language there. So yeah, I think there's some options around that.
Okay, so for the AI unit consumption, if I'm using a model which is specifically for a different language, non-English language, so the consumption of my AI units would be the same as the one which is dedicated, the AI model which is dedicated to perform an English language document. Is it going to be the same AI unit consumption?
Yeah, I think so. So if you use, like, for example, pre-trained model, either it's one for English or for example, Japanese, the billing, it's the same. Yeah, it's not based on the language. Yeah, it's more on what you are using, on which feature.
Basically on the activity what you use, so it's not basically on the language of the it's on activity and the number of pages that will be decided. Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
Perfect.
Marcelo and Srini, thank you. Like, I was having also the same question what Rahul asked. And just to add on, the licensing pricing will also be same for the AI unit bundle, right? If you will be going to use it for English or any other languages.
Yeah, so see, first of all, you need to train the model and deploy the model. That is a training and deploying will take some AI units as well.
Yeah.
Right. And after that, the consumption by the activities will be the another consumption of AI units. It's not basically what language you are preferring. It's only the activities and the page number of pages you're extracting those. Yeah.
Okay, so whatever language we want to extract, the licensing that AI bundle is same, right? That 60K unit or 1 million, 10 million, whatever we want to take. I'm just asking about the pricing.
So out of 60,000 bundle, it will consume that. It is you are talking about the overall package what UiPath is.
Yeah.
Actually,
so from that bundle, the whatever activities you will use, you can better check on the consumption model which Marcelo has shared. So there is no mention of like the any language or anything, only the page and the activities you are using. According to that, it will be consuming like 1 unit or 2 units according to that. Yeah. And model training will take another few AI units, which will be in the AI center documentation. You can refer that.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, good evening. Actually, my question is that the PDF files are stored in that Azure database. There is the 500 pages of files. In that 500 files, I can use only 2 to 3 pages only. How can I handle it? This kind of situation? Can I able to go forward within that machine learning and pipelining, or like that? What is that solution for this? For 500 pages containing PDF.
So 500 pages is which is storing in the Azure, but I'm not
Yes,
sure.
Azure database. In that Azure database, specific folder, it will be stored in the part of that database. I need to access. At the same time, that Azure database, it will be stored in that one part of the RDP machine, and then another robots are present in that separate part of the RDP machine. How can I connect within that one RDP to another RDP like that? Configuration is there.
Is there any APIs supporting between like instead of
Mhm.
RDPs, can you
Okay.
establish a API connection to directly call?
There is no API connections to directly call, but we are using only that Azure database.
I'm still not understanding anyone understood the question actually, because you're talking about the database and RD.
Yes. Actually, my question is that in that Azure database, separate part of the folder PDF files are stored in that place. I need to access in that robot to CloudPort, and then in that each PDF files contain that 500 pages. At the same time, in that 500 pages, I have worked on within the 3 to 4 pages only. Like this scenarios where I'm currently facing this kind of scenarios in current situation.
If it is
For that,
yeah, if it is
uh,
Azure, then there is a chance of API connections. I'm not sure if you have checked that, because
okay. Actually, I'm not checking that API connection because this is the new scenario I'm facing. At the same time, my experience also less than 4 years only. So I'm the only one person struggling for this kind of things.
Okay, hello. Hi, this is Sugapriyan. I understood your question.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, do you want
Yeah.
to communicate one RDP server to another RDP server, right? You have the folder
Yes.
path, the destination path,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
we can create the network path, okay?
Okay.
In firewall level, if you are creating the network, so you can able to achieve. That is the one
Okay.
solution we have, okay?
Oh,
Don't
okay.
worry,
Okay.
it will
Got it.
be working. Yeah, you got it right,
Okay.
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
we
it.
have
Your
to
point.
create the network firewall port. We have to open. That is for 443.
Okay.
You got
Okay.
it?
I noted. Yeah.
Yeah,
Noted.
yeah. If you have any questions, let me ask in forum. I will try to help you out. What is required?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
That's it, my side.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to make sure that we don't go over time. So we still have 4 minutes until the end of this session. Just a heads up. Feel free to ask more questions in the next 4 minutes.
I think we're talking more about the AI docket, right? I think that's one thing wherein if you kind of compare it with some other OCR tools in the market, some of them do per page. And I hear sometimes there's a confusion in document understanding as well. The docket, the logic is a little different, right? So do we want to talk a little bit about, because it eventually impacts ROI for any automation that we implement. So a little bit more of how exactly it works and with some examples, I think that should help. Thank you.
So for the consumption side, we have the documentation and calculation. So because for every project, there is a different set of requirements. Okay, some projects we don't use validation station. Some process we use the validation station. According to that, it will the consumption or the pricing will be different. So it is a very it's bit tricky, I can say, like to put everything into one slide, I can say, because according to the project the requirements will be, so we are not binded to one project and we are showing that, right? we have to accept any type of projects, any type of requirements. That's where it is very tricky. But you can surely work out what the link has provided by Marcelo. You can define how many units, how many pages, because that is that is the project requirement. It depends more on the project requirement. Yeah.
Correct. So for example, if currently I have say 500 transactions in a month, right, for one particular process, and say maybe we're talking about some 15 transaction per day. In that one transaction, it will have one document with 10 pages, which could be a combination of what you told. It can have a form, it can have an invoice, it can have a receipt. So that combination. So for these 10 pages, and if I have 15 transactions, so per document, would it take one AI unit, or again, it goes into some kind of calculation?
Yeah, it goes into a calculation because per page here we need to count instead of the document.
Okay, so that means here, so the one AI docket, if it has 10 pages, so it probably for one document itself, maybe 3 AI dockets can be used in this particular scenario. Is what you're trying to tell, or it will be one AI docket? I mean, I've not done too much research on this, but always, even if we discuss, sometimes it's some people think, hey, it's per page, but then again, there is a weightage you're telling based on how you use the validation engine. The consumption will be accordingly calculated, right? So that's why I'm trying to see, for this example, how would it be for that 10 pages? You're telling it could be more than one AI docket.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, probably that's what the scenario may be, because initially we classify the document, so there will be different types of classify in that particular document. So it is looping through each classifier, right? So probably for each when it classifier, it may be applying that units.
But if it's one single classification, say all the pages are like is for one form, and it will be all classified into one category. So for that, will it be one AI docket in that case?
But I'm not sure. But to get that
I think
loop, right?
I think that there's a kind of different answers dependent upon how you're going to use the product. There's a classic version, there's a modern version of DU, and I'm going to paste a couple of links in the chat that are the metering and charging logic for each of those. So you're talking about classification. For modern, OCR and classification is one AI unit per page. But if you look at the classic charging logic, it talks about different AI unit costs per classified page based on like what type of classifier you're using: keyword classifier, intelligent keyword classifier, machine learning classifier, generative classifier. They're all different. So there's different charging scenarios based off of whether you're using a modern or classic. So I'm going to paste both those in the chat.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. So yeah, I think that's one good thing to know, because some of the OCR tools we have in the market for us, I mean, they don't get into this level of categorization, but they're more like, hey, one per page is like 15 cent or 20 cent, something like that, right? So maybe if there can be some simplification here, probably I think it would help, because sometimes I think not many people might not get into so much of depth. Some of them might, but that's where I'm thinking, some kind of simplification there should help overall. So just a thought, yeah.
Hey
Yeah,
guys,
hey,
this is Chris. And just to address that question, there is a new release of document understanding called DocPath using generative AI coming in with the general release in November of 2024-10. That will do away with the classic that Brian was talking about, that classic calculation model. It will be per page going forward after that, because classic will no longer be available. Just to help.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, probably that might help. Yeah.
All right. So this is Shubham. I do have one last question.
This will be the last question that we take because we are a bit over time. So,
Yeah. So actually, in today's session, we haven't covered the modern DU. I know this is the part of the in the upcoming series, right? So in the modern DU, do we have a functionality in place where we can retrain the model directly from the UiPath Studio? I know in Classic we can use the machine learning Extractor trainers, and that way we can retrain the model, which will appear as a fine-tuned folder inside the AI Center, right? But do we have any such sort of functionality or the feature available with the modern DU as well?
You mean to say the modern design to retrain the model, right?
Yeah, modern design to retrain the model directly from the UiPath Studio activities.
Do you have any answer over here, or Marcelo?
Yeah, I see that the auto fine-tuning activity is still under the public preview, right? So it'll be like available for the general availability probably after the forward release. So hopefully by November we might have that within there. Yeah,
Okay.
but currently, currently we are doing the approach what you're saying. You're right.
All right. Okay. Got it. So for now, I mean, if somebody wants to retain the model directly from the studio, then I mean, better to go for classic approach rather than the modern for now.
But it might soon be available to retrain from the studio. That is what our understanding is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Makes sense. Thank you.
okay. Thank you all for the questions. Yes, you will receive the recording of the session on your email. And if anybody doesn't receive an email after this session, you can always find the recordings on the series page that was linked in the chat. Hopefully you managed to save that because that's where all the info, the most important info about the sessions are, including the recordings. I want to thank Marcelo and Srini for the session today, the very informative session, and Priya and Chris for the support, and of course Diana for the support in chat. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you on Monday in the 5th session. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful session.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.